Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're here breaking down Thursday Night Football, Drake Maye. We're here talking about our Week 11 NFL picks, and maybe we'll sprinkle in a little basketball at the end if the people want it. And you can't teach that. Bada boom, man. The people in the room, G Money Grant Mitchell. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tanner. It's a good time of the year where the weather is finally starting to cool down a little bit. So now I can go outside without sweating. Maybe it's a little cold where you are in the world. Don't know. It's good down here. Football is on. We got Thanksgiving coming up. Family's going to be around. Good food, all that great stuff. It's a nice time of year.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very good time of year. I'm excited for Thanksgiving. Excited that the college football season is kind of coming to an end and we can get into the playoff talk and bowl talk. And then in the NFL, we still got a lot of action left. So it's a really good time on the sports calendar. NBA is getting into full swing, college basketball, good time, good times right now. October, November, December, always good.
Yeah, 100%. On the college football note, by the way, so I don't know if you've been monitoring the Heisman race this year, but the sports books have basically not had a favorite. They've had like 2 or 3 guys that have kind of separated themselves. But right now it's Mendoza and it's Mendoza. How am I forgetting his name? Not Simpson. Who's the other one? Who's the other one that's up there?
Probably Ty and then Marcel Reed from A&M.
This is ridiculous. Why can I not? Heisman odds. I'm losing my mind. Julian Sayin.
The problem is with you should forget who Julian Sayin is. Nobody watches Ohio State. Like nobody watches in Ohio. You can't tell me anybody turns on the television to watch Ohio State on the weekends. They don't play anybody. Their schedule is a joke. They beat Texas. Congratulations to beat Texas early in the season. But other than that, you're just throwing jump balls to your boy Jeremiah Smith.
Well, it's Mendoza and Sayin that are tied right now. They're both at like plus 160, 170. For the last month or so, it's been Mendoza, Sayin, and Simpson tied like the whole month. But then last week, Simpson fell back a little. Marcel Reed is plus 700 or so. And those 4 guys have separated themselves. Like I think Diego Pavia is next at plus 3,000. So it's those 4 guys. And really it's those 3. Reed's not going to win it.
Well, fun fact, actually, Arch Manning has better stats than Marcel Reed. It's crazy to think that, but he does.
I would need to actually look at when those stats occurred.
Texas A&M has played cupcakes all season. Texas has been in dogfights.
Well, if you look at the averages, it plays out that way. But like I'm looking at Arch's stats right now. He's got 295 against San Jose State, 310 against Sam Houston State, 346 against Mississippi State. He had a very good game against Vanderbilt last weekend, but 132 against Kentucky, 166 against Oklahoma, 170 against Ohio State. So my point is they might have the same stats, but when do those stats occur? Arch is boosting his stats in bad games.
Arch is coming back into the Heisman race when he walks into Athens, Georgia this week. If he doesn't get hit by a car, hopefully, because, they like to race down there. If he doesn't get hit by a car, I think he's going to walk into Athens and pull off a big win. What also too, we got to discuss this real quick. I mean, this is probably more interesting than Thursday Night Football this week with the Pats and the Jets. But why the hell is College Game Day going to Notre Dame versus Pittsburgh? What is wrong?
Instead of Georgia versus Texas? I don't know.
I can live with Bama, Oklahoma too. Like I could live with that. Yeah. But Notre Dame versus Pittsburgh? Are you kidding me? And then they were thinking about going to that Division III school, like the Battle of the Ravine. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
That was the other option. The Battle of the Ravine. I don't know where it is. I'm going to look it up right now. I guess the schools, whoever play in this rivalry, are like separated by a train track. Okay, so Battle of the Ravine occurs between Henderson State University and Ouachita Baptist University. So they were thinking about going there. It's Division III rivalry. And that was between those 4 schools, and they chose Notre Dame and Pittsburgh. Like that literally works. I think Notre Dame's a double-digit favorite.
Is this Battle of the Ravine? Are they like the top 2 teams in division? It looks like they're Division 2. Are they the top 2 teams there?
No, I think it's just the fact. Maybe this year they are. Nobody watches Division II football, but I think it's because the train track separates the school.
It is
10.
one of the oldest rivalries in Division II football. It is unique because the two schools are located across the street from each other. The visiting team walks across the highway to the home team stadium to play the game.
That's kind of cool.
It's cool. It is cool, but it's not college game day worthy when we have Georgia versus Texas.
Or OU Alabama. Like, again, I wanted Georgia, Texas is a playoff eliminator for Texas. Like, and now Texas got a little momentum. Like, that's where you should be. Then after that, you should be at Alabama, Oklahoma, because that's really that could be a playoff eliminator for Oklahoma, most likely. And then you should go to the Battle of the Ravine, and then Notre Dame versus Pittsburgh. That's ridiculous. I think Pat McAfee, because they were tagging McAfee on all the posts, like, oh my God, we're going back to Pat McAfee's hometown, or if he's from Pittsburgh, I'm not really sure. I think he is from Western Pennsylvania, and that is a joke.
You know what? I will say that is really cool though, and that's what college sports are about. I know you make fun of me because I watch soccer and I love soccer, but they actually, one of the big reasons I like it is college sports are very emotional. They're very tribal. You feel like you're a part of it. So this Battle of the Ravine thing, there are two teams in the league that I primarily watch, which is the English Premier League, the top league in England. There are two teams. One's called Liverpool. The other team's also in Liverpool. They're called Everton. But it's like you're at the Liverpool Stadium. You literally walk half a mile through a park, and you're at Everton. And that's that element that the college football brings, where it's like it is a real rivalry. Yes, the Browns are rivals with the Steelers, but it's not like that. It's not like it's literally your crosstown. It feels like you're back in high school where you're facing your crosstown rival.
Yeah, I love college football for the tradition, the pageantry. I don't like betting on college football as much as the NFL because I think it's just it's sporadic. Like you never know what you're going to get with college football. Where the NFL, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But yeah, it's going to be a good weekend of college football. Again, Georgia, Texas. Grant's a Georgia fan, so I think Arch is going to go in there and just stomp on them between the hedges. Again, he may get hit by a car because they like to race, and that's that.
Yeah, as much as I love my fiance, her taking me from being a Virginia Tech fan to a Georgia fan, that's probably one of the best things she's done for me.
Georgia's defense played well last night for the Philadelphia Eagles.
They did. What a horrible game of football.
I enjoyed it. Like I put a pretty big bet down on the Eagles. I actually ended up hedging on the Packers at when they went down 10, because there were multiple moments in that game where the Packers could easily climb back into it. I think, watching that game last night, the Packers took too long to open up the offense with Jordan Love. That was an issue. I think if they opened up early, maybe they have more success. Who knows? But the Eagles just know how to win. There's not one part of me that walks away from that game that says the Packers are a better team than the Eagles. The Packers are not. Could they have won last night? Yes. But the biggest thing I was surprised with overall was just there were a lot of people like this is the Packers spot. Like this is the Packers are going to win. Like the sharp, quote unquote, sharp money was on the Packers last night. And it was really surprising to see that because, it's a good spot for the Packers. They're coming off a bad loss against the Panthers, but the Eagles they're better. Like I'd rather bet on the better team coming off the bye week. I could live with myself losing a bet on the Eagles last night. I couldn't live with myself betting on the Packers and losing.
Yeah, we were both on the Eagles spread, both on the Eagles money line in this game. So another point for Ride the Line, guys. Another reason that you should be subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Tanner and I give out winning betting picks here all the time. I saw something. Oh, go ahead. Take it away.
Kittle touchdown. Lions -7.5, 8.5. We gave away a lot of winners this week.
Yeah, the Lions definitely, as a Commanders fan, the Lions -7.5, 8.5, whatever it was one of my favorite plays of the week.
Yeah.
The Packers in their losses this season, Tanner. So they got 3 losses. They also have a tie. They scored 13 points in one of the losses to the Panthers, 10 points in the loss to the Browns, 7 points in the loss to the Eagles. So they're averaging 10 points in their losses.
The Packers are a terrible football team. The worst thing for the NFL this year, because the Packers were favored to win the Super Bowl or the NFC and, second to win the Super Bowl at one point. The worst thing that happened in the NFL this season was the Packers blowing the Lions off the field in week 1. That was the worst possible thing that could have happened because it skewed our perception on the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are not good. If you look at their schedule right now, and Grant brought up the losses there, but if you just look up the schedule for them, give me a minute here. They beat nobody. They beat the Lions in week 1, whoop-de-doo, at home. You beat the Commanders in week 2. The Commanders
that also played into it. The Commanders are 3-3 3-7 now. But those back-to-back wins were like, okay, Lions, favorites of the NFC, Commanders, NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah, but like this is a different Commanders team too. Yeah, in the beginning of the season that did play into it. I agree there. You beat the Browns, you tie the Cowboys, who have the worst defense in the NFL. You give up 40 to them. You beat the Bengals, and the Bengals were not playing their best football at that point.
I think they beat Jake Browning in that game too.
You beat the Cardinals 27-23. You beat the Steelers 35-25 from what we saw from them on Monday. They're terrible. Or Sunday, they're a terrible football team. You lost to the Panthers, and now you lost the Eagles. So there's really no wins on there that are that good. And when I was looking, I was actually surprised to see, because I looked through the strength of schedules. At the beginning of the season, the Packers had like the 5th or 6th toughest strength of schedule in football. Looking at it now, it's one of the easier schedules in the NFL.
Yeah, just to take a look at, I guess, what effect the last couple of weeks have had. I think it might have been on our show last Tuesday. We were looking at odds to win the NFC, and the Packers were, I think it was the Eagles plus 320, Packers plus 340. Like, they were right there. They have plummeted to plus 750. They're behind the Eagles, the Rams, the Lions, and now the Seahawks, which they should be, but the odds makers were sleeping on the Seahawks for a long time, and they were overvaluing the Packers. But there has been a large adjustment. And then if we look at the Super Bowl, the Packers, so you've got the Chiefs, Rams, Eagles, Lions, Bills, Seahawks, Colts, all in front of them. And then the Packers tied with the Ravens for 10th in Super Bowl odds.
So if I'm looking through the Super Bowl odds right now, the Chiefs can win the Super Bowl. We know they can win the Super Bowl. The Rams can win it. The Eagles can win it. The Lions can win it. The Bills cannot win the Super Bowl. There's no chance that Bills team is talented enough to win the Super Bowl.
They're more likely to do it than the Packers, though.
Yes, I agree, especially getting out of the NFC versus the AFC. Seattle, I don't think Seattle can win a Super Bowl, but they're good. Like, I think the Seattle Seahawks are 10 times better than the Bills. The Colts can probably win the AFC, maybe. I don't know. I don't think they can, but like I think they're better than the Buffalo Bills. I think the Ravens are way better than the Bills. They got to fight to get in. I think the Broncos could be better than the Bills. The Patriots are better than the Bills. But realistically, when I'm looking at this, I think it's the Chiefs, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Lions. That's the 4 teams that can win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs, Rams, Eagles, Lions. I'll agree with you on all 4. I'm looking for another team.
It's got to be from the AFC. It would maybe be the Ravens, but I don't trust them either. And they're still, I mean, they lose a couple games, they might not get in.
Yeah. I'm still going to put the Bills there just because I think they can, but I don't think they will. I'm with you that I don't think it's the Seahawks. Even though I love the Seahawks, I'm a Seahawks guy. I don't think Daniel Jones can win a Super Bowl. I think the Colts actually kind of made the same mistakes the Giants made 2 years ago, whenever they paid Daniel Jones. The team played really well, so they're like, let's not that they're paying Daniel Jones, but like they've gone all in. They traded the 1st-round picks for Sauce Gardner and everything. Like, okay, we've got the team, and they're about to find out they don't have the quarterback for it. Yeah, I think it's those 4 teams. Then I'll add in the Bills. I think it's those 5.
What about the Pats?
No, they can't win it.
I think they can get to the AFC Championship pretty easily.
They probably could, as long as they get a favorable draw in the 1st round. And let's see, what would it look like today?
They're the 1 seed right now.
No, they're the 3 because the Colts and the Broncos are ahead of them.
So the Broncos are going to lose this week to the Chiefs. That knocks them out. The Colts
so if that happens and the Pats move up to 2, they would get the Jags. They would get the Jags or the Chiefs in the 1st round.
Can the Chiefs win their division still?
They would have to catch the Broncos, who are 2.5 games ahead.
So they can sweep the Broncos, though. If they sweep them,
that helps a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So that they would actually probably jump ahead of the Broncos with 2 head-to-head wins, I imagine.
It's still too early to call.
Yeah, plus 150 to plus 130 in that division right now. So yeah, I think the Patriots are a live dog. I think they're going to win the division. Obviously, this segues perfectly into Thursday night after we talk about WSN.com, the World Sports Network, the best sports network, guys. Make sure you check out WSN.com. We are presented by the World Sports Network. You get your picks, your promo codes on there. We got a ton of content for the NBA, for the NFL. So make sure you guys check out all the written content there. And then also subscribe to the podcast, Ride the Line. This is the best podcast to subscribe to. We give out winners. We have some fun here. We are live on Tuesdays and Fridays. We also post clips throughout the week. So make sure you guys get in here for your betting knowledge and picks.
100%. Like Tanner mentioned, he called the Kittle touchdown. We called the Lions spread. We called We had a lot of winners last week, just like we always do. And if you guys are enjoying the content so far, again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that. Hit the like button. Takes 2 seconds out of your day, but it is the easiest way you can support us and help our channel grow, hitting that like button. So do us the favor and knock that out. And Tanner, let's get to the best betting picks on Thursday Night Football. Got the Patriots and the Jets, little AFC East rivalry matchup back in the day. No, it wasn't the Jets. I think it was the Dolphins who Belichick and them couldn't beat. The Jets have always been the stomping ground of the AFC East. The Jets are hot though, Tanner. They have 2 wins this season. They came in the last 2 weeks. The Patriots, meanwhile, I think they've won 7 of their last 8, something like that. They too are actually hot. They're cooking with grease. No, they've won 8 of the last 9, as a matter of fact. So we know the Patriots are going to win this game. We know that they should be favored, but what are you expecting in how it plays out?
So I think the Patriots are going to win the game. Obviously, they're an 11.5 point favorite, but why can't the Jets cover in this one? Like, why? I don't think they're going to, but if 11.5 was that free, like, it's the NFL. I think anything can happen. I think Patriots are a really good team, but if the Jets are going to get them, it's going to be this week on a short week, coming off a big win against the Buccaneers, returning home. This is just a spot where I think the Jets maybe can do something. Probably not, like 99% not, but don't just take 11.5 blindly and think the Patriots are going to blow them off the field. Like I do think the Jets still have some talent there. And coming off a win last week against the Browns, they were still able to put up points on the Browns. I know offensively they had a really rough showing, and Justin Fields is not that guy. But it's just a short week division game. It's something feels funny to me here. And I probably would not be laying 11.5 points with the Patriots. If I had to pick a side, like, hey, life on the line here, you got to make a pick. I'm taking Patriots minus 11.5. But if the Jets are going to keep a game close with them, it's probably the spot.
So check this out. So I'm literally looking at this live while you were talking, just went back and looked. Let's go back to week 1 of the season. So Thursday Night Football divisional matchups. Season opener, the Eagles are favored by 7. They win by 4. So that's a cover for the underdog Cowboys. Week 2 is not a divisional game. Week 3, the Dolphins are like plus 11.5 on the road at the Bills. They lose by 10, so they cover. So we're now at 2-0. The next week, the Seahawks are favored by 1. They win by 3 against the Cardinals. So it's 2-1 for the underdogs there. Then we have the 49ers on the road against the Rams. The Rams were favored. I forget by how much. The 49ers win outright. So they're now 3-1. The next week, the Giants stomp the Eagles 34-17. That's 4-1 for division rival underdogs. The next week, the Steelers are favored to beat the Bengals. The Bengals win outright. We're now 5-1. Then next week's not a divisional game. Week after that's not a divisional game. And then the one we just saw on Thursday Night Football, the Raiders are plus 9.5 against the Broncos, and they lose by 3. So they cover that line. So division rival underdogs are 6-1 against the spread on Thursday Night Football this season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this just feels like Patriots are on top of the world. You just beat Baker and the Bucs. You finally beat a good football team. People are now saying that you're a legitimate AFC threat. You have all the momentum in the world. Jets coming off back-to-back wins. Obviously, Justin Fields is not that guy. We know that. Whoever's at quarterback is not the guy. Defensively, they've traded away people. But when you just look at the spot for the Patriots, this doesn't feel like a game where they just blow them off the field, in my opinion, knowing the Patriots. I think they got to come back to earth at some point. This would probably be the spot for it.
Now, look, the Jets beat the Browns in a way that only the Browns could manage to lose last week. Justin Fields had 54 passing yards. He had less than 80. He had less than 90 total yards. I think he had 82 total yards passing and rushing. There's just no way the Browns should ever lose that game. They give up a punt return and a kick return touchdown on consecutive kicks. It's just, there's no way the Jets should have ever won that game. However, they have been competitive. This is what I will say. They've been competitive from a betting perspective. So they beat the Bengals outright the week before that. That's 2 wins in a row. They don't cover against the Panthers, but it's 13-6, and that game was in the balance. I think it was 7-6 in the fourth quarter. So that was tight. They played the Broncos to 13-11. Again, I think Fields had 45 passing yards in that game, and they still covered that. They got blown out by the Cowboys before that, but then they covered against the Dolphins and they covered against the Bucks. And before that, get blown up by the Bills, and in the opener, they covered against the Steelers. So, like, from a pure betting perspective, this team has been able to hang around. And going off that trend of division rival underdogs being 6-1 against the spread, it would be even better if the Jets were at home. But I'm with you. The Patriots, we talked about this enough on the last show. We both actually took the Buccaneers because we were like, this is a huge step up for the Pats. The Bucs are coming off of a bye week, and it's just a spot where it favors the Bucs. Credit to the Patriots. They are answering every call, and I do expect them to win this game. But is it possible they put a lot of eggs into that basket? They're not going into this game telling themselves we have to win by 11.5. They're going into it thinking we just got to win. Short week. We're going to play within the margins, win 17-14, win 20-13, something like that. And that could still allow the Jets to cover.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one thing, if you are looking it's hard to, parlays aren't necessarily the way to go, but I do enjoy a good parlay sometimes. So if you're looking at the parlays here for this game, Jets Patriots on the money line, obviously you can't just take the Patriots on the money lines. Minus 800 provides really no value. But Grant, since I provide some gems to the people here on the podcast, I don't know if this is a gem or not, but I was looking around. If you want to go first half 3-way winner, Patriots minus 330 to win the first half, down from minus 800 to win the game. Now, obviously, if it's tie, you lose. Or if you want to go first half winner, minus 460 versus minus 800 for the game. I'm sorry, if the Patriots don't win the first half, they're not covering the spread. They might not win the game outright,
Right. And also, in what world are the Jets actually winning at halftime?
1 in 100. I don't think the Jets can score. For them to win the game, it's got to be 10-7 at the half, or to cover. It's 10-7 at the half. You come out of the locker room, maybe you take a lead, maybe, but probably it's 11.5. You're down 17 most of the game, and you score late. That's kind of the world where I see the Jets covering in this one. But again, short week division opponent. You're getting double-digit spread. That's not easy.
No, I'm with you. So it sounds like we're both on the Jets plus 11.5. Let me give you a couple of my
stay away. I'm stay away.
Staying away? Okay. Let me give you a couple of my player prop picks here in this game. So first one, I'll take Breece Hall over 15.5 receiving yards. They've tried to run the ball with him. It's too easy for opposing defenses to key in and stop him because Justin Fields looks like he can't get to 60 yards passing in a game. And that's because he hasn't recently. So they have to get the ball in Breece's hands one way or another. Only caught one ball last week, but it did go for 42 yards. He actually only had 14 receiving yards in the weeks before that, and he had 0 the week before that. But he does have some big games. He had a week of 38, 31, 30, 42. Like I mentioned, he just did have 42 last week. So I think they just have to find a way to get the ball into his hands. New England has been really good against the run this season. So check down, screens, things like that. Couple of catches, gets him over 14.5.
I like that play. I think that's a smart one there. And he's one of the last guys remaining on the Jets roster with a pulse. So
yeah, him and Garrett Wilson. Although Wilson's out for a month.
Yep. My pick, I'm going to take Drake Maye, and I'm going to take him under 241.5 passing yards here. He has been cruising over this number, 270, 259, 282, 222, 261. I just don't think the Patriots are going to have to throw the ball like they've had to be in this game. You look at what the Buccaneers defense did to them. They didn't shut down the run, obviously, because Henderson had some really big carries, which skewed the stats. But for the most part in there, the Bucs the Patriots got going in that game because of the deep ball early. I think it's Pop Douglas, maybe. I don't remember.
Matt Collins had one at the end too that helped out.
There was a couple explosive passes, which was the majority of their offense. I know they had the big run, but for the most part, again, it was the explosive passes. I don't think they're going to have to do this in this game. I think they're going to be able to run the football. I think they're going to slow down the pace and play a physical Thursday night game. I just don't think we need the Drake Maye 240-yard passing game tonight. So I'll take him on Thursday. So I'll take him under 241.5.
Well, that fits in perfectly with my next pick, which is Stephon Diggs under 54.5 receiving yards. And of course, I closed the tab that I needed when I had it open. But Stephon Diggs, yes, he's big in name, but you look at his receiving output, he's had some nice catches. He's timely, had a really good touchdown going into halftime of that Bucs game, but Still only finished that game with 46 receiving yards. The weeks before that, it's 38-14. Gets an over with 69, but then he's back to 28 before that. Just overall, he's gone under in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games this season. So 6 unders, 4 overs. And like you said, this is a game where he does not need to go over. He doesn't need to go over. Drake Maye doesn't need to go over. Justin Fields might not get to 50 passing yards. So Drake Maye doesn't need to get to 250. Drake Maye could get to 170. And heck, maybe they decide to feed Travion Henderson, seeing what he did last week with the explosive plays. Like, just keep knocking at the door, and eventually maybe that Jets defense lets you in. Maybe you get a 60, a 70-yard explosive run. So, yeah, I really don't see this being a good day for either offense, more so by choice for the Patriots.
Yeah, they don't even have passing props listed for Justin Fields right now.
Well, I mean, I wonder if it could be the fact that they're waiting to see if
he gets to start.
If Tyrod Taylor starts. It could also just be the fact that
you can't.
How do you make? I mean, he had a 300-yard game this season against someone, I forget who, and then he's had multiple 50-yard games. How do you even make a line for that?
You don't. It's that simple. You don't. You can't when he's throwing for 50, because you just don't know. He could throw for 200. He could throw for 42 yards. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get out of him. I missed the Justin Fields we saw early in the season against the Steelers, like when he was lighting it up in week 1.
Yeah, he was great in that game. He had 218, 3 total touchdowns, no turnovers, ran for another 50 yards. He had 283 against the Cowboys, 244. This is ridiculous. His last 4 games, Tanner, 45 yards, 46 yards, 244 yards, 54 yards.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get. So you probably can't even post a line.
He had 27 yards against the Bills in week 2 as well. So he has 4 games under 55 passing yards.
I don't know what to say. He's not that guy. But, like, I like Justin Fields. I just don't know how these guys can go from so good in college to so bad in the NFL. Like, it truthfully, did the Chicago Bears kill him that much inside? Like, did the Chicago Bears rip his heart out and, like, his brain?
He looked all right with. Let me go look at his games with the Steelers.
He got benched though, didn't he? Like,
he did get benched, but when he got benched, he had 5 rushing touchdowns, 5 passing touchdowns, so 10 total touchdowns, 1 interception. The Steelers were 4-2. His passing yardage was 156, 117, 245, 312, 131, 145, and he was averaging about 40 rushing yards per game.
He's never been the same since. So, anyways, Grant, I got a couple touchdown scorers if you want them for this game.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so I'm gonna take Breece Hall just off the top. I'm not breaking any records here. I'm not saying anything people don't know. If the Jets are going to score, I imagine Breece Hall is going to be one of the most likely options to score. You're getting him plus 135. If he doesn't score, I don't think the Jets are going to be like throwing the ball over the field for wide receivers to score. So I'll take Breece Hall there plus 135. Now I got 2 long shots. Pop Douglas plus 450. Pretty good line there.
I like that.
Sauce Gardner no longer on the defense for the New York Jets, which is huge. I think the Patriots do have a ton of receiving threats. Obviously, if you're going to get a guy like Pop Douglas in the end zone, it's probably a game like this just to try some new things, get some other guys involved. So plus 450, I think is pretty good value there. Again, scored 3 times on the season. He didn't score last week, but scored the week before. And then my last pick here, New England defense plus 600 for a little anytime touchdown. I hate playing the defenses. I don't love playing defense, but I think this is the spot for it. Justin Fields turned the ball over. You never know what you're going to get. Patriots have had some defensive touchdowns this season against bad quarterbacks. Remember the strip sack on Cam Ward. This is a spot where they could easily do that. I also see Justin Fields potentially throwing a pick. So value there. Let's just say you parlay them. Let's say you have a good time parlay them. Plus 9,203. Put $5 on that. You win 460. Put $10 on it. You win 920.
The retirement parlay. I like it.
Yeah.
You know who had the explosive play? Because I'm looking at the odds right now. It was Kyle Williams. He had the 72-yarder against the Bucks. I'm looking at him for plus 430. Don't think he's going to score, but let me tell you, that's how you earn yourself opportunities. Catch a 72-yard touchdown. maybe if you can get a receiving line on him, maybe they'll throw him a couple balls this game. Who knows?
And that's why the Bucks lost, because you got a guy like that having massive touchdowns.
And the Patriots really didn't have anything going at that point in the game.
No.
And considering that they scored on the final play of the first half and got the ball coming out of halftime, the fact that score put them up, 14-7, I think, right?
Yeah.
If it had just been to tie it 7-7, no, it's a completely different game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the two big runs and the score before the half and the deep throw to Mac Hollins and the deep touchdown. Like, it was all explosive plays that killed the Bucks. Overall, if you take away those, they were pretty good. But when you give up the big explosives, you're not going to be good.
We good to move on to Sunday?
We are good to move on to Sunday, Grant. Why don't you take us into the spreads?
All right, guys, it's time for Tanner and I to give out the top 5 spread bets on Sunday in NFL Week 11. We have been killing the spreads so far this NFL season, and we are here to double back once again. Week 11, top 5 from each of us. We do not talk about these. I don't know what Tanner picked. He doesn't know what I picked. So we're just going to run through them one by one, see if we line up. Hey, maybe we're on opposite sides. And it's for you guys, the viewers, to ultimately decide where do you want to go with it and who do you think has the better take here. So, Tanner, I'll get us started. I'll take us back to, I believe, Monday Night Football in Week 1. It was a primetime game, Bears-Vikings. In this rematch here, you got the Vikings favored by 3 points at home, and that's where I'm going to be going in this game here. So I want to start by saying the Ben Johnson effect is real in Chicago. I know there were concerns that he's just going to be one of these offensive geniuses who proves that he's only a coordinator. He can't be a head coach. The Ben Johnson's Bears are fighting for him right now. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. They did have to make a comeback, but they still made that comeback against the Giants. They did make a comeback against the Bengals, but I am looking at these games. And again, the last 3, you lose 30-16 to Cooper Rush and the Ravens. You have to come back against the Bengals. You give up 42 points. You have to come back against the Giants. Not taking it away from them because they are improving. They are getting better. Caleb Williams is playing better, even though he's still not great. But the Vikings, I always call them the best coach team in the NFL. They are at home. They've already beaten the Bears by 3 points this season in what was J.J. McCarthy's first start of his NFL career. Still don't like J.J., but if there's a coordinator out there who can confuse Caleb Williams, it is going to be Brian Flores. So I see this being kind of an ugly game, maybe for both offenses, but Vikings find a way to win, just again on account of their coaching.
This is also one of my plays, Grant. So we're in the same boat here. I love Minnesota in this spot. I think, against the Ravens, it just wasn't necessarily a good matchup for them. J.J. McCarthy is good enough to be competitive and just game manage his way to a win here. But it's really the defense of the Vikings. You looked at how the Vikings played early in the game against the Baltimore Ravens. They were pretty good. Against the Lions, they were fantastic. I think they can return to that. And the Chicago Bears, too. You come from behind last week. If you get in a situation like that against the Minnesota Vikings and you don't come out right away and play well, you're going to struggle here. So I think it's a good spot laying the 3 points at home with the Vikings.
Okay. I don't know. Normally we can kind of guess what we're going to have on each other's cards. I didn't think you were going to have that one. I think you might have a couple of others on mine. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you my next one. And then if it's the same again, you can go first on the next time around. I will take the Chargers -2.5 at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jags were a defensive team to start the year. They had the number 1 defense in football through the first 4 weeks of the season. Since that point, they are 29th in EPA per play, which is my favorite stat for measuring defenses. And Trevor Lawrence genuinely looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. You've got Cam Ward, you've got Dylan Gabriel, and then honestly, you've got Trevor Lawrence. There's not a whole lot of other people in that class. Spencer Rattler looked better than he did. Tyler Shuck looked great in his one game. So I don't know if it's you can't say it's over for Trevor Lawrence because they paid him $250 million. They're going to stick with him. But Liam Cohen's supposed to be this offensive guy. He has not unlocked the offense. Brian Thomas Jr. probably returning from his injury, but even when he was there, he didn't have a great impact. Jacoby Myers didn't change lives. And again, their defense is on a very quick downward spiral. Meanwhile, we talk about the Chargers like they're crap. They're still 7-3, despite them having the worst offensive line in football. They're better on offense. They're better on defense. They got a better coach, and they got a better quarterback. So I don't care they're on the road. I'll take the Chargers.
I am also on the Chargers, Grant. So we were pretty spot on there. No really other explanations. The Jaguars are not a good football team. Chargers. The thing with Chargers, though, you get an extremely inconsistent team. Like they're really good at home when teams have to travel across the country, because that's when I've gotten hurt by them the most this season. I'm going against them when they have to travel across the country. Not necessarily a team that I believe is going to take care of business, but the Jaguars, when you have a 98% chance to win a game in the fourth quarter, you need to win those games. Like there's just no excuse for that. A lot of people are drooling over Liam Cohen right now as a head coach. I don't necessarily see it as much. And I think the Jaguars are just overall our team that people forget about. But I'm right there with you. Trevor Lawrence is not that guy.
All right. Well, since I did the first two and we had the same ones, why don't you lead us off here with number 3?
You might have, you probably don't have this one because I'm going against your team here.
Okay.
And I could be on the total wrong side of this play. And realistically, the Commanders played a lot better against the Lions than I expected them to. Would you agree with that?
No.
They actually put up some points early.
Oh, well, the offense was never my concern. The offense is fine. Well, I shouldn't say fine, but like the offense can be at what you would need to cover from a spread. It's the defense you got to worry about.
So that's my thing here. You look at the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are the most interesting run franchise. Like they must just really like Mike McDaniel as head coach. Like they just may think his vibe's good. I'm not sure. I think the fans like Mike McDaniel, at least like fans who aren't in Miami, like driving past the elbow room after the game and chirping Bills fans. Like that's awesome. I don't know if you saw that video and picture circulating the internet, but I'll take the Miami Dolphins -2.5. My biggest fear in this game is in Madrid. You just never know what you're going to get. But when I'm looking through just the talent on the Dolphins side of the ball, offensively and defensively, they are better than the Washington Commanders right now with Marcus Mariota playing quarterback. So Tua, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, not the best stats there. He is going to turn the ball over. I don't believe the Commanders are going to be able to force turnovers, though. Last week against the Bills, 15-21, 173, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. They still found a way to win 30-13, and that's because they ran the ball so effectively. Devon Achane, 174 rushing yards, 22 rushing attempts. Like the best way to get Tua going is to run the football. We've talked about it. Miami's really struggled with that at times this season. But I do think they're going to be able to go in and run the ball against the Commanders. And on the flip side, Washington, like how many more bad losses can you handle? Like I know this is one that you can come out and potentially win, but you've just got stomped on week after week. You're not healthy. You're losing guys on both sides of the ball. I just think Miami's the momentum that they have after that Bills win is going to carry in here, knowing they can keep stacking wins, knowing that Mike McDaniel's still there. Obviously, he's not getting fired. So I think at 2.5, it's a really good bet. But the Commanders could also win this game too. Like I'm not saying they can't. I just don't think they're going to be able to shut down Miami defensively.
This is an all-time stay away game for me because, I mean, even just 2 or 3 weeks ago, you would have favored the Commanders by a touchdown. And now it's the Dolphins that are favored by creeping up to a field goal. The Commanders, talking about them getting pounded week after week, they are only the second team in NFL history to lose 4 straight games by at least 3 touchdowns. It's only happened one other time. So they are on the worst run in NFL history right now. There's 7.9 net yards allowed per pass attempt, which is yards per attempt, and then you factor in sack yards. It's the worst in the NFL since 1981. They are playing horrendously, and it is that defense side of the football. Again, the offense plays well enough to be competitive from a spread standpoint, even to win games. With the Dolphins, they've blown out the Bills, got annihilated by the Ravens, and then blew out the Falcons. So they're not consistent. We also know they are a terrible team, even though they've shown more life recently. Whereas the Commanders playing some of the worst football in the history of the NFL. Dan Quinn taking over as defensive coordinator going into this week, so he'll be calling plays. Does that really matter? Who knows? Because you've lost your top 3 edge rushers, your top 2 corners, your top safety. There's so much wrong with both of these teams that I cannot give a pick on this game.
But who's going to win?
Well, it's only a 2.5 point line, so it's kind of yeah. I would say the Commanders win.
Interesting.
And that's not me being a fan, because me being a fan is me wanting them to lose, because I want them to get a better draft pick.
I think you could tease the Commanders up, and that's a nice way to start your Sunday.
tease them up to, it would be like what, 9.5?
Yeah, 9.5. I think that's a good way to start your Sunday.
Well, I
But
don't know. They've lost 4 straight by
you
21.
are right about that. You are right. I don't know. Like, it's so hard to factor in motivation. Like, I think the Miami Dolphins, as much as the narrative that's gotten out about how the locker room's not good and all that, like, they're dancing in the laundry carts after they beat the Bills. Like, this is a team that still seems like they like each other.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn's like lost the Commanders, I think, Grant.
Deron Payne, forgot to mention, he's suspended from this game because he punched Amon-Ra.
That's the dumbest thing. Like, I don't know. Your IQ is so low if you punch somebody with a helmet on.
What do you think is going to happen?
You have a better chance of injuring yourself than you do of injuring the player.
That's what I'm saying. You're more likely to break your hand than you are to actually hurt them.
Like, tackle him and pile drive him in the ground. Like, don't throw a punch with his helmet on. So yeah, your Commanders just are a low IQ football team, Grant. So I can't. Dan Quinn, like, going from like coach of the year candidate to where he is now is crazy. He won coach of the year last year.
No, who won?
He really should have.
He should have. Yeah. Coach of the year NFL. It was Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, he should have. It should have been Dan Quinn, but we don't factor in playoffs. So, but yeah. Anyways, I don't think your Commanders are very good. I think you're not very healthy. I don't trust Marcus Mariota. I trust Tua and Achane and Waddle more than I do anyone you guys got. So that would be my play there.
I have no clue what's going to happen in that game. I do have a clue about this game though, which is quietly. I get it's the NFC West, and the NFC West doesn't always get the most publicity. They don't always get the most airtime on TV, but this is going to be one of the best games this NFL season. At least it should be. You got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams are playing extraordinarily well right now. The Seahawks have won 7 of their last 8. They are on a 4-game winning streak. The Rams have won 4 straight. They are 7-2. This will determine who is in first place in the division. Matthew Stafford, I forget the exact stat. He's the first player in NFL history he's the first player in NFL history to have it's 4+ touchdowns, no interceptions, and something else in 3 straight games. The point is, he's playing out of his mind. Sam Darnold, to some people, is the leading MVP candidate. Jack Smith-Njigba, the leading Offensive Player of the Year candidate. That also brings into consideration is Jonathan Taylor going for MVP. Is he going for Offensive Player of the Year? But point being, genuinely 2 of the best teams in the NFL. I am going to take the Rams just because as much as I love Mike McDonald, I do think Sean McVay is a little more capable on both sides of the football. There's also been a lot of talk about how the Seahawks have been using a lot of heavy personnel to unlock a lot of their play action passing game. I think the Rams, their personnel group allows them to be more prepared for that. And in the event this becomes a shootout, Stafford should very easily be in MVP conversations as well. He's first in touchdowns, 4th in yards, 6th in QBR, 25 TDs to 2 interceptions. Darnold is playing well, but he's not playing that well. And I just don't think he can hit that level. So with LA being at home, they get my nod here.
I like it. This is probably a stay away from me just because you look at the Seahawks. They are beating teams into the ground. Whatever Darnold did in the second half last week was unacceptable. I mean, he started his game with 10 fantasy points and he finished with like 4. He was horrendous there. But I look at the Rams. They're a better team overall. They beat the San Francisco 49ers into the ground defensively. There were some weaknesses, especially in the secondary. Like Mac Jones had a really good day. I think this is like a shootout. I think this resembles kind of what we saw from Seahawks Bucks earlier in the season. And I'd probably lean over 48.5 if I had to make a play. I don't really mess around with totals too much, but that would be where I lean.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just looking at these results. So Rams win by 16, win by 24, win by 28, win by 14. And then the Seahawks win by 22, win by 24, win by 8, win by 8. So it's been comfortable for both teams over the last month.
Definitely. All right, Grant, you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Chiefs minus 3.5 on the road against the Denver Broncos.
Is on my list as well.
It's a hard one not to play just when you look at the situation for the Chiefs. You come off a bad loss to the Bills. Now you get a bye week and you get Andy Reid off a bye, who is 22-4 in games after a bye week. He's 9-3 with the Kansas City Chiefs. We talked about it last night going into last night's game with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why you take the Eagles coming off the bye, chance to get healthy. Like, this is where I think the Chiefs just become the different team. Like, this is where they really turn it up and make their playoff push. It's a division game. They're on the road against the team who is leading their division right now that you have to win in order to make the playoffs. I will trust Patrick Mahomes 100% of the time. The 3.5-point spread is also something I think the books are doing to try to get you to draw to the Broncos as the home dog here. I think the Chiefs are going to beat them by 10+ points. I think they're going to be ready to go here. Patrick Mahomes is playing well, obviously playing at an MVP level. The defense has come along a lot. And then Rashee Rice makes his team just a different beast. And when you look at the Denver Broncos, their biggest issue has been the inconsistent offensive play from Bo Nix and company. So I think the Broncos defense can keep the score down for a while, but I don't expect Bo Nix to put up a ton of points against the Chiefs, and therefore I will lay the points with KC.
Yeah, like I said, I'm also taking the Chiefs by Reed. Andy Reid on a bye week plays a big part in it, like you laid out there. Bo Nix as well. I get it that I'm a Commanders fan, so I'm a Jaden Daniels guy. This is not some sort of bias against him. He's just not been good, and I've been trying to say that for a long time. But last week against the Raiders, 150, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The week before that against the Texans, 173 yards. He's turned the ball over in 3 straight games. His one good start-to-finish game was 3 weeks ago against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys do have the worst pass defense in the NFL, arguably. The week before that, he's terrible almost the entire game, then plays a sensational fourth quarter against the Giants. Not going to take that away from him. The week before that, he's awful against the Jets. He borderline got outplayed by Justin Fields, who had 54 yards. So what does that really say about him? Week before that, again, terrible the whole game until the fourth quarter against the Eagles. Then you get to a good game against the Bengals, but then he was bad against the Chargers, bad against the Colts, bad against the Titans to start the year. So, the Broncos have won 7 straight games. I'm not calling them a bad team. You can't say that. They arguably have the best defense in the NFL. But this is a game, whenever you play the Chiefs, you need someone on your offense to make plays. And it's not going to be J.K. Dobbins. He might get his 70, 80 yards, but he's not going to change the game. It's not going to be Courtland Sutton. It's not going to be Troy Franklin. It's not going to be whoever you want. It's going to have to be the quarterback when you play Patrick Mahomes in this offense, and he's not going to do that. He's showed you that at every turn this season. Also, Chiefs defense can be a top 10 unit in the NFL, especially coming off of a bye week. I don't think I say this like every show, but my top 3 minds on defense are Mike McDonald, Brian Flores, and Steve Spagnuolo. So I think the Chiefs will control this game start to finish, probably end up winning by about 10 points.
Chiefs money line, perfect little parlay piece on your Sunday afternoon there, 426. Can't beat it. Okay. Grant, do you want to go with your 5th? Because you had the same one, and then I'll go with my 5th. We might have the same one again.
Although you honestly might have this. You don't normally like taking the small teams like I do. You like the heavy hitters, and I took a lot of heavy hitters this week. So I'll close it out with the Lions plus 1.5 at the Eagles. Is that yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, figured as much. Yeah, the Lions are just flat out a better football team than the Philadelphia Eagles are right now. The Eagles, I get it. They find ways to win, and you cannot take that away from them. You really can't. Not saying they're a bad team. It's just you have no clue what's going to happen with them every week. They are on a historic rate for 3-and-outs on offense right now, which is insane considering the amount of talent they have, considering they're paying more money to their offense than any team in the league. But, I mean, Saquon Barkley is averaging less than 4 yards per carry. Jalen Hurts, I get it, 16 touchdowns to 1 interception. And, yes, he's looked a little bit better throwing the ball recently. But what does that really mean? He was under 185 yards in 2 straight weeks. It's their defense can be good. Their offense can be good in moments. But what I saw from the Lions team last week, I get it was the Commanders. I'm not saying it's them beating the Commanders that changed anything for me. It was Dan Campbell holding the play sheet. Dan Campbell was calling that game. And they started off that first quarter running between the tackles every single play, it felt like. And they set up the play action off of that. They were physical. They were aggressive. And now with Campbell calling plays, they're going to go right at the Eagles, which is normally what the Eagles are used to doing to other teams. Other teams don't want to play that game with them. The Lions, with Dan Campbell calling the plays, may be the only team that will actually want to do that with them. So I could see this starting off close in the first quarter or so. Or I could also see Lions opening up a big lead, forcing the Eagles to open up their playbook in a way they don't normally do. And then you're playing the Lions game at that point.
I think the Eagles' offense is horrendous. Like, it just was not good against the Packers. I don't trust that they're going to be able to score with the Lions. The one thing the Lions are going to do most of the time is score, or they're going to try to score. Like, the Eagles got to open up the playbook. Last night, like, you can make the case for the Packers that, like, they didn't open up the playbook, but neither did the Eagles. I mean, you look at how that game went. It's a big play to Devontae Smith. It's a great play by Saquon Barkley to get in a position to throw a touchdown to Devontae Smith. That's pretty much their entire offense last night. Jalen Hurts, first drive, had the great run that ended up with a fumble. That was a beautiful play call, too. Probably one of the best play calls of the night. But yeah, just overall, I don't. You have A.J. Brown. Why aren't you throwing the ball to him? Like, you wait till we didn't even talk about that Sirianni on 4th and 9 or whatever, going for it at the end of the game, basically in field goal range for the Packers. And like, that's the only time you throw a jump ball to A.J. Brown. Throw another one. Should have been, you got to get him at least 6, 7, 8 targets a game. You got to feed him. And I just don't think they're into it.
Meme?
No.
You just said 6, 7, 8 targets. I thought you were going for the meme.
No, I didn't do the 6. That made a come 6, 7 made a comeback. I'm very surprised.
Well, Jonathan Vilma said it twice in the game in the booth the other day.
With Trump, he tried to do he was like, how many touchdowns do you get? Like 6, 7?
Yeah.
So that one went right over his head. But yeah, so it was this is a game where the Lions, I think, offensively are just in a much better spot than the Eagles. And the Eagles are good. They're not great.
A.J. Brown's receiving output this season for yards, 13, 121, 80, 43, 7, 109, 27, 8.
Crazy. Embarrassing. He's too good. You're wasting money. Like, every week he doesn't catch a pass, you're wasting money. Why are you paying him?
It's a good question. And I think they made the right decision by not trading him because he is too valuable to the team. But like you said, okay, you did the right thing. Now let's capitalize on that. Let's actually get him the football.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big spot. It's a big spot, big game. Like, this is a great primetime game. I can't wait for it. I think A.J. Brown has to catch the ball. Like, if you're picking props in this game, I know we'll save that for later on, but if you're picking props in this one, you are going to pick an A.J. Brown touchdown. You're going to pick A.J. Brown over receiving yards. They have to throw the ball. The man is probably not showing up to practice today, like he does, or whatever day they have to show up. He ain't going to come all week unless you get him the ball. So A.J. Brown touchdown. I've been great at calling A.J. Brown touchdowns on the show, I will say, and I think next week is one where he's going to get one.
All right, we're good on the Sunday spreads there?
Oh, we're good. We're good.
All right, let's take it to the Big Five, the series here on Ride the Line, where Tanner and I give you the 5 NBA player prop picks that you have to know for whatever day. And in today's case, it's obviously Tuesday, November 11th here, 2025, just a couple weeks until Thanksgiving. I will kick it off, and I will start. Where do I want to go first? I'll go with Michael Porter Jr. under 22.5 points, as the Brooklyn Nets prepare to take on the Toronto Raptors. Now, Porter Jr. has scored at least 25 in 3 straight games. However, the Raptors have a lot of very long athletic wings, willing shot blockers on the interior. They are allowing the fewest points per game in the entire NBA. They're also allowing the fewest I think the lowest 3-point percentage and the 5th fewest 3-point makes per game. So all of that feeds into them having a great defensive matchup against Porter Jr., who doesn't want to do much aside from sit on the 3-point line, so he's not a very dynamic player. There's nobody to really guard on this Nets offense aside from when Cam Thomas is out there as well, and you can do that. You've got the length and the size to do it, so I'll take him to go under that line.
Yeah, I like that play, Grant, and I know Michael Porter Jr. loves Brooklyn, so maybe he's just partying it up, and maybe he's just not going to do anything tonight. So I like that. But he's happy to be there. He loves the ladies in Brooklyn, I hear.
Yeah, doing some podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, he loves that. I'm going to go with Kyle Filipowski. I'm going to go over 5.5 rebounds. I watched the Jazz play the Celtics in person last week or 2 weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. Filipowski changed kind of the momentum and the pace of the game when he came off the bench there. When you look at just the Jazz overall, really good offensive rebounding team. They play physical, young team, obviously. They still got a lot to work on, but they're going to play hard. The Indiana Pacers play really quick, so I think there's going to be a spike in the rebounds from him. And, a guy that just came in, changed the game against Celtics, so I'm going to ride with him here in the spot.
Smart play there. I will go to a player in a matchup that's already happened twice this season. We're less than a full month into the NBA season. This is the third time these teams have met. And speaking of the Boston Celtics, Tanner, it's the Celtics against the Philadelphia 76ers. Don't know what's up with that schedule. Don't know how we're meeting 3 times in the first month of the season. Feels like every team's got that team. With the Celtics, it feels like they're always playing the Sixers. It feels like the Lakers are always playing the Trailblazers. There's a couple of feels like the Bucks are always playing the Pacers. But let me tell you about this picker. So I'm gonna go with Quentin Grimes over 3.5 assists here. He had 4 assists in his last game. He's averaging 4.5 per game this season. Now he's had an even split of overs and unders this season. I believe it's 5 on each side. However, he did go over in 3 of 5 with Joel Embiid on the court. Embiid is expected to play in this game. The Celtics normally do a great job on defense. There's 6 assists allowed per game. However, Grimes had 1 over, 1 under in his games against the Celtics. So if I boil this down to its basic element, okay, Grimes has split the number evenly overall this season. He split the number evenly when he's played the Celtics. He has gone over in 3 and 5 with Embiid on the court. And this is just a plus EV play because you can get this for about plus 120 odds or so when these numbers make it look like it's a 50-50. So just some plus EV there. And I got to take that from a math perspective.
There you go. I like it. Go Celtics. You like the C's tonight?
Maybe. Probably not.
I got a baller value play, Grant, for my final prop. Chet Holmgren over 1.5 total assists. Juicy. Okay. Juicy. You're getting it plus money. You get for plus 127 right now. He's a 1 to 2 assists per game guy, but when you look at him recently here, he had 1 against the Hawks, and he had 2 against the Mavericks, 3 against the Clippers, 1 against Sacramento, and then 2 against Memphis. That's his past 5 games there. Gone over in, I guess, 3 of his past 4.
He's gone over in 5 of 7 this season. Yeah,
5 of 7, 3 of his past 4. You're getting it for plus money too. And you look at just how the Warriors play in general. They play fast. You're going to get the uptick in possessions. Maybe you get something where he gets a rebound, kicks it out for some threes for his buddies down there in OKC. So I don't know. I mean, for plus money going over in 3 of his past 4 against a team that's going to play fast, where you're going to get more possessions in a game, why not?
No, I think that's a very smart play as well. And then I'll close this out with the 5th and final NBA player prop here. I'll take Nikola Jokic over 10.5 assists against the Sacramento Kings here. So Jokic has been a lot more aggressive as a scorer recently. He's averaging more than 31 points per game in November. But with me saying that, he also has dropped, I want to say, at least 13 assists in 3 of his last 4. It might only be 11, but point being, I know he's gone over in 3 of 4 games this month. The Kings are dead last in points allowed per game, but they are also 27th in assists allowed per game. Jokic had 14 assists when these teams played last Monday. He also went over in 3 of 4 games against the Kings last year. So there's virtually no defense to speak of on the Kings. Yes, Jokic has been a scorer recently, but even in this increase in scoring, he's still been cashing the overs on his assist line, and he did just do it 8 days ago against this team. So too much reason there for me to not bet his over.
Grant knows his NBA props, so make sure you guys follow him here. Grant's the NBA guy, big NBA guy. Check out his writing and his picks all on WSN.com. So Grant is the NBA guy. I'm trying to keep up with him there. But I think I got some good ones tonight. I think I can compete.
No, I like the Chet one. It kind of goes back to, we like doing things like we like taking receivers over 2.5 rushing yards. I like that. Plus money over 1.5 assists for a guy who's going to play 35 minutes tonight. It makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Grant, that was Ride the Line, greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. Why don't you take us out of here and into the week?
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure that you do check out WSN.com, not just for props and picks for myself and Tanner and the expert team, but also for bonus codes, promos at the sportsbooks, all that great stuff. It is there at WSN.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Also hit the like button and go to the comment section. Let us know what your favorite picks are. Tanner and I will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.